Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for Wednesday, January 22nd. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my core picks for both DraftKings and FanDuel. And it is a 7-game main slate over on DraftKings, 9 games on FanDuel. In the morning, I'll be posting up the injury report for the day. There's only one team on back-to-back, and that's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. So their injury report will be coming out later on in the day. I'll be posting injury updates throughout the day, as well as an updated core about 20 to 30 minutes prior to lock, or as those changes do become available. And then throughout the night, I will be posting as many of these starting lineups as I can get to as well. So definitely make sure that you are checking up in the comment section of this video so that you do have the most accurate information as we do head into lock. But without further ado, we'll get started with the DraftKings side. We're going to start off at the point guard position with Devin Booker. You can also play him at shooting guard. He's $9,000. Looking for 45 out of him, averaging just under 44 so far on the season. Goes against the Brooklyn Nets. Should be a pretty favorable matchup for him. Taking over a little bit more ball handling duties as of late, playing really well. So definitely do like him in this matchup. Currently I have him projected for about 47, 48. Definitely has a little bit of upside for more, a little bit downside for less, especially if this game ultimately ends up being a blowout. Then we're going to move down in the shooting guard position with Chris Middleton. You can also play him at small forward. He's on the Milwaukee Bucks, coming off the bench, but $5,100 looks like a pretty good price tag for him. Looking for 25, 26 out of him, averaging 27 so far on the season. And as of late, he's been playing really well. So do have him currently projected for about 30 in this game. So definitely does have for some pretty strong upside. Looks like one of the better value plays, at least early on in the day. And then speaking of good value plays at small forward, we're going to go with Nick Smith Jr. You can also play him at shooting guard. And he started the two most recent games in place of Brandon Miller. He's only $3,200. So at that price tag, you're really only looking at $416 out of him to pay off at 5 times value. Although when we're talking about guys this cheap, you want to see at least 20 of them. Currently, I'm projected for 22 on the DraftKings side tonight. Might have a little bit of upside for more if he goes out there and plays bigger minutes. But if he's not playing quite as well, could have the chance to lose some minutes at the same time as well. And then we're going to move down to power forward with Naz Reid of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Playing really well as of late, so he's $5,500. Looking for 27, 28 out of him. Averaging just under 26.5 so far on the season. Decent matchup versus the Dallas Mavericks. And it's probably one that he pairs up a little bit more favorably against than like Rudy Gobert. But Naz Reid playing really well as of late. Do really like him in this matchup. Have him currently projected for about 29, 30. Definitely has some pretty strong upside for more. Has a little bit downside for less. You know, if Rudy Gobert goes out there, if he's playing well and the minutes just aren't there for Naz Reid, there's always that possibility. But if he keeps playing the way he has as of late, really good matchup for him just in general. Then last but not least, we're going down to the center position with Brook Lopez of the Milwaukee Bucks. $4,800 going against the New Orleans Pelicans. Only looking for 24 out of him to pay off at 5 times value. He's averaging essentially 27 so far on the season. Playing really well his last 4 games. So definitely looks like one of the better value plays, at least early on in the day. Currently have him projected for, about 29, 30 in this matchup. Definitely has a little bit of upside for more. There's some downside for less, if he's not going out there, if he's not shooting the ball well, if he's not getting rebounds, if he doesn't get as many minutes as we do expect. But if he plays anything like he has the last 4 games, definitely looks like one of the best value plays on the entire slate. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you'll have $22,400 remaining, just under $7,500 remaining per player. So a good amount of money left over, whether you want to spend up for a star player like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, LaMelo Ball, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Cade Cunningham. There's a lot of different spend up options on the slate overall. If you want to go with a little bit more balanced approach, that's definitely fine at the same time as well. But with that being said, we'll get over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So on the FanDuel side, we're going to start off at the point guard position. I went with Trae Young ultimately here at $9,400. Looking for 47 out of him. He's averaging just over 45 so far on the season. Really attractive matchup versus the Detroit Pistons. I do expect this to be a pretty back and forth game. And I currently have Trae Young projected for 48 points. Has a little bit of upside for more. Obviously, we've seen some 50 fantasy point games out of him in a good handful of spots this season, so definitely do like that upside. A little bit downside for less, but I really think he is one of the safer options at the point guard position tonight. Then we move down to shooting guard, once again with Nick Smith Jr. of the Charlotte Hornets, starting in place of Brandon Miller the last 2 games, playing decent-sized minutes. He's played relatively well in that role. Good matchup versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Probably one that is pretty favorable for him just in general, his skill set and kind of where he fits in with this team and this matchup. And at $4,100, we're looking for about 21 out of him to pay off at 5 times value. On the FanDuel side, I do have him projected for 21 FanDuel points. Has a little bit upside for more if he's going out there, if he's playing well. However, he does come with a little bit downside for less. If he goes out there, doesn't play the greatest, and starts losing minutes. Then at small forward, we're going to go with Chris Middleton. He's $6,000, so we're looking for 30 out of him. Averaging just over 26 so far in the season. Interesting matchup versus the New Orleans Pelicans, playing decently well off the bench for this Milwaukee Bucks team at this point in time. I believe the 3 most recent games for Chris Middleton, he's been at least 30 fantasy points, and I do currently have him projected for 30 on the slate as well. So it looks like a solid, steady, safe option. Not too much else to say here. And if I'm being completely honest, not a lot of guys that I did love at the small forward position for this slate overall. Then we're going to move down to power forward with Naz Reid once again. So I had him on DraftKings as well. He's a little bit more expensive on FanDuel at $5,900. Looking for $2,930 out of him. Pretty much what I do have him projected for in this matchup. Obviously, the last couple games have been really good for him. It's a favorable matchup, a matchup that he should be out there on the court more times than not versus the Dallas Mavericks. However, if Rudy Gobert goes out there, if he plays really well, there's some downside for less. But I definitely do like Naz Reid in this matchup. Potential for 30 fantasy points or more in a very attractive spot. And then last but not least, a guy that I probably didn't think I was going to pay this much for, but it's Mark Williams of the Charlotte Hornets, $8,000. There's no Nick Richards in town now, so he's getting as many minutes as he can handle. Interesting matchup for Zach Edey, but I do like the upside of Mark Williams playing really well as of late. I think the last 3 or 4 games, he's been up over 40 fantasy points, which is what we're looking for out of him at $8,000. Definitely do like his upside in this matchup. Currently, I'm projected for 42 fantasy points, averaging just 33 so far on the season, but you have to keep in mind, some of that was coming off injury and playing limited minutes and splitting some of those center minutes with a guy like Nick Richards at the same time as well. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed on the FanDuel side, you have $26,600 remaining, just over $6,600 remaining per player. So on the FanDuel side, looks a little bit more like a balanced lineup type of day. Obviously, a lot of great values that are out there. If you want to play a different center, somebody that's a little bit cheaper than Mark Williams, you can definitely do that and then spend up elsewhere. So a lot of different ways that we can approach this slate, especially on FanDuel where it is a 9-game main slate as opposed to DraftKings where there's only 7 games. But with that being said, that's what I do have in terms of my core picks for both DraftKings and FanDuel. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS whatsoever, be sure to drop them down in the comments section and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Once again, in the morning, we'll be listing my early morning injury report. We'll have a lot of news there for most of the teams. The Nets are the one lone team on the back-to-back. We'll have injury updates throughout the day, as well as an updated core about 20 to 30 minutes prior to lock, or as those changes do become available, that will be listed as a pinned comment. If there's any changes after the point in time where I list it as the pinned comment, we'll leave it as a reply to that pinned comment as well. And then I will also be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to down in that comment section throughout the night as well. So definitely make sure you're checking up down there, especially as we do go closer to lock. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we really just have NBA DFS going on in terms of the core pick videos Tuesday through Friday. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you are a brand new user on any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS for Wednesday, January 22nd.